Rich people aren't smarter than you. I know that sounds like something a broke guy says to feel better, but there's actual research behind it. Researchers at London University found that scarcity forces a survival mindset onto your brain, and it's not about character. It's a rational response to running out of room to breathe. The real difference isn't IQ or talent or even luck. It's which loop your money is stuck in. One loop has your paycheck disappearing into bills before it even lands, forcing survival mode. The other loop has money going out and coming back bigger, building assets on autopilot. Same brain, same effort, completely different systems, and that system starts costing you the moment your bank account hits zero. Hi, Kane again. I'm a theater grad that started with nothing. 20 years later, with hard work, I own properties throughout Ontario. Be sure to watch my video on how I struggled. Please see the references in the description below to read where I've pulled this information from. If there are any discrepancies, let me know. The video is for educational purposes only. If you are going to invest, be sure to speak with a licensed professional. Without further ado, let's get started. Being poor in Canada often costs you more per dollar than being rich, and that's not an accident of bad luck. It's just how the math works when you've got nothing to absorb the hit. A late fee on a $2,000 credit card balance costs way less in real terms than the same fee on someone living paycheck to paycheck with nothing in the bank. The math is the same, but damage isn't, and that gap only gets wider the tighter your budget gets. Here's the loop. Paycheck lands, bill eats in about 2 days, and there's nothing left over to put into anything that grows. It's not a character flaw, it's a system, and once you're in it, the system runs itself whether you're smart with money or not. Rent, groceries, car payment, phone bill, they all hit at once, and the account goes from full to empty like something pulled a plug. Research called this cognitive load, and it's not just a stressful feeling. Worrying about a car repair or a shut-off notice is like trying to solve a math problem with holding a 7-digit number in your head the whole time. So your brain has less room for anything else, including good decisions about money. Now, add payday loans into the picture. In Canada, payday loan interest rates can hit over 300% APR, and people take them out specifically because they're trying to catch up. That's the tunnel. You're starting at a $300 gap so hard that the 300% APR barely registers because your brain's locked onto closing the gap in front of you, not costs sitting 3 months down the road. You borrow $300 and 2 weeks later you owe $345, except your paycheck hasn't changed. So now you're short again, except worse than before. Researchers actually tested this. Studies on low-income households found that right before payday, people were more likely to pick $100 right now over $200 later. That's not something being bad with money, that's what researchers call a poverty trap. When you need groceries today, there's no room left for a decision that pays off next month. After payday, when there's cash in the account, that same person picks the $200 almost every time. The bias isn't fixed, it moves with liquidity. Here's what proves it's not about willpower. Give that same person a choice between a harder task now or a harder task later. Nothing to do with money. And the pre-payday, post-payday difference disappears completely. The scarcity only shows up around cash because cash is the actual constraint, not self-control. Picture someone in Canada making $45,000 a year, no emergency fund, and their car needs a $900 repair to pass inspection. They need the car for work, so skipping it isn't an option. There's no slack in their budget, no expense they can cut fast enough to cover it, so credit cards maxed, savings accounts empty, and a payday loan is the only door still open. 6 months later, they're not covering a repair anymore. They're covering the loans that covered the repair. None of this is about intelligence. It's about a system that keeps your brain locked onto the next 7 days because that's literally as far as your money reaches. A high earner making $150,000 with zero automated savings and a lifestyle that expands with every raise can land into the same loop, just with bigger numbers attached. No slack means no buffer, and no buffer means scarcity. Behavior shows up no matter what the paycheck says. Willpower doesn't break this loop. Removing the decision does, and that's exactly what separates the guy with one rental property sitting still from the one who somehow ends up with 5. Both people started somewhere close to the same spot, so what actually separates them isn't income or luck. One of them built a loop where money leaves, goes into something, and comes back bigger, automatically without a fresh decision every single week. Here's the setup on that loop. Money leaves your account before you can spend it on anything else. It goes into a down payment fund or an investment account, and it grows there without you having to think about it daily. Your brain runs on 2 systems. One is slow and effortful, weighing every choice, and the other runs on autopilot once it's trained. Automating the transfer moves the decision out of the slow, exhausting one and into the automatic one, so there's no daily fight with yourself over whether to save or spend. The transfer already happened before your brain even gets a vote. Most people assume this needs a big income first, save up a huge pile of cash, then start building. But that's backwards, and the research backs this up. The system comes before the income, not after. Someone earning a modest salary who automates savings on day 1 will outsave someone earning triple who waits until they have extra at the end of the month, because there's nothing extra at the end of the month. Just whatever's left after spending fills every gap. Automatic transfers and simple decision rules take the daily grind out of it completely. Set up one transfer on payday into a dedicated account, and buying a duplex 2 years from now stops competing with grocery money every single week. You made the decision once, and the system carries it forward without asking you again, which is the whole point. Say your salary lands on the 1st, before rent, before groceries, before anything touches that account. $200 moves straight into the down payment fund. 2 years later, without finding extra money, you've got close to $5,000 sitting there plus interest, ready for that down payment on a small rental. You never consciously chose saving over spending. The system made that choice the day your paycheck landed, and that's the asset building mindset in one sentence. How do I build something that keeps paying me later instead of just surviving this week? Now, stack the compounding on top. A rental cash flowing $200 a month doesn't sound like much on its own, but reinvest that $200 every month for 10 years into paying down the mortgage faster or into a second property, and you're looking at a completely different number than if the same $200 sat in a checking account earning almost nothing. This is why someone with a modest paycheck who automates savings can outbuild someone earning double their income with no system at all. The higher earner isn't dumb. They just never installed the loop, so every dollar sits in their checking account as a daily choice between a nice dinner and a future property against decision fatigue that slow, effortful system loses most days. Financial literacy barely moves the needle here. One major review found it explains less than 1% of the actual variance in people's financial decisions. Knowing the theory of compound interest doesn't put money into an account, habit and structure do. And that's the real lever separating two people who started in the exact same place. Two people can earn the exact same paycheck and end in completely different places. And it's never about who's smarter or who works harder. It's about whose system makes the decision automatically. So pick one decision, filter this week, one rule that takes the thinking out of it. Maybe it's a $50 into a down payment fund. Maybe it's paying extra on a mortgage. Set it up once. Make sure it moves before it even sees the cash and never touch it again. That's your first bit of slack. Here's what's actually on the line. Researchers on family wealth shows 70% of it gets lost by the second generation. and 90% of it by the third, not from bad luck, but because nobody taught the next person the loop. Picture 2 paychecks landing the same day. One disappears into bills by Wednesday. The other is already working quietly, building rental property while you sleep. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to watch my next one on how you can buy a property in today's market. Thanks for watching.